Kakalosh Boker or Daf Yomi Masechet Sanhedrin. We're starting the 6th chapter. This is Membet Mubet 42b. Says the Mishnah Nigman Adin. If right now you're going to have Nigman Adin of the Nidon, Motzino Tol Lisoklo, so they take him out and they're going to stone him. Bet Askila Yachutz Bedin. The Bet Askila was outside of the Bedin, a little bit further away. Shneimar Hotze Tam Kalel. You have to take him out from the camp. Echad Omer Petach Bet Adin v'Sudarim Biado. You have one person that's going to be on the entrance of the Bet Adin, and he's got like a deged, he's got like flags. The sudar is here like a flags in his hands. Sus rachok mimenu, and you have another person on a sus that he's going to be right towards the kivun of the Bet Askila, kedeshiyeh roeu, in order that he could still see him. Okay, so therefore, as if to say that they're going to come, they're going to judge it again or not. What happens is yesh la meda zechut. Omer echad. All of a sudden, what happens if one of the dayanim says, you know what, I've got a zechut on him. Hala menif basudarim. So he's going to come. He's going to start waving the scarves, which are basically like the flags. Vasus rats, and then the sus is going to run to the Bet Askila. Mamidan, they're going to stop him from killing him. Vafilu what's more, and even if he himself says yesh li lamen alatzmi zechut, machzirin oto, they're going to bring him back. Afilu arba v'chamesh pamim, even 4 or 5 times. But only if it actually appears that mamash it's true what he's saying, not just stam. I've got a zechut. What's a zechut? If it really appears be'emet that there's something, so then yeah, that they're going to come and they're going to bring him back. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara. Ubet askila chutz kivun betin right chutz betin ava vetulo. Are you only going to tell them that it was mamash right outside of the bedin and that's it? Vatanya bet askila ya chutz shalosh machanot. It was outside of the city basically, right? So therefore, it should be outside of the city. This bet askila. So answers the Gemara in yes, kida kamarta, just like what you said. What does that mean? It's outside of the city. So that's what we said over here. Nafkamina dinafik bedina. That if the betim went out of the city, and it comes and they are outside of the shlosh machanot, avdina bet askila chutz bedin. So then they're going to do the bet askila outside of the bedin. In order that it shouldn't be like a bedin which are rotzchim, which means that even if it's going to be that the bedin for some reason had to go outside of the city, for whatever, they exiled themselves and they were outside of the bedin, still, meaning outside of the city, still the Bet Askila had to be outside of the Bedin. It could not be inside of the Bedin. Because if not, then it looks like as if to say that this is a Bedin of killers, of murderers. That they come, they kill the murderers, but that's the way it is. Okay? Inami, or, in order that there should be Atzalah, what does that mean? Since the Bet Askila was a little bit outside, so therefore there will be a little bit of time until finally they come and they're going to stone him. So it gives people a little bit of time to come and to save the defendant. So says Minanamile, how do we know these words? Right? That it has to be outside of the 3 machanot. So he says, the Tan Rabbanam is going to the Braita, Otzetam kalel michutz machane. Chutz shalosh machanot. Taumer chutz shalosh machanot. Oeno ela mechane achat. Maybe it's only going to be 1 camp or not 3 camps. So he says, Ne'emar kan, it says over here, michutz machane. Ve'ne'emar beparim anisrafim, michutz machane. Meaning we're making gezerah shava, just like over there. By parim anisrafim, michutz machane means outside of the 3 camps. So to here it means chutz shalosh machanot, outside of the 3 camps. So ask the Gemara, vehata minala. How do we know that Parim and Israfim was outside of the 3 camps? So he says the Tan Rabbanam is we learned in the Braita. Ve'otzeet kol haparim michutz machaneh chutz shalosh machanot. Ata omer, are you going to come and now tell me that it's going to be outside the shalosh machanot, or maybe it's only one of the machanot? Keshehu omer, when it says el michutz machaneh bepara eda, when it says michutz machaneh by para eda, which is this is the par elem davar shetzibur. The ones of the tzibur did not know about an avirah, and then they had to bring a par in order to atone. She'en tamul lomar sharek kvar ne'emar. We already know that you already know that it has to be outside of one machaneh. Liton lo machaneh shniya, so it's giving you a second machaneh to be outside. U'shehu omar. Now when it says michutz machaneh, by this is by the 3rd time when it says by v'otziet deshen, right, which is talking about the taking off the deshen, which is the ashes. What does it come and teach you? What he says. So why do I need that time? So meaning that every single time that it said michutz machaneh, if it didn't need it, it gave you outside of another machaneh. So that's why you had number 1, number 2, and number 3. So you had a michutz machaneh by pareda, you had michutz machaneh by the deshen, right? And then you had michutz machaneh also by parelem davar shel tzibur. Right? No, that was the first one. Okay, because the first one was Par Kodem Mashiach. The Par Kodem Mashiach was number 1. When it says that's number 1. And Michutz Machane by Par Elem Devar Shetzibur is number 2. Deshen is number 3. Since it says by each one, mechutz machaneh, so therefore you already know that it's going to be outside of all 3 machanot. So ask the Gemara, why don't we learn it from shchutei chutz? Which means that when you come and you bring a korban outside of the Bet HaMikdash, and there it's written, ish met asher yishcha michutz machaneh, ma lehalan chutz machaneh achat, just like over there it's one machaneh, so to here it's one machaneh. Meaning, if right now for the isur of doing shchita and all the other things outside of the machaneh, it's enough one, so too when we have to do the things outside the machaneh, maybe it's only one, you don't have to do 3. So answers the Gemara, mistabra mi parim anisrafim aval. It's much more mistaber to learn from parim anisrafim. Yeah, he comes over here and he says, why? He says, sheken hotze and michutz machaneh. Right? When it says the word hotze, it's taking you out. So you have to be motze, the mkalel and the parim anisrafim and everything. So he says over here, but not by shchutei chutz, it doesn't say that. Right? The michutz machaneh is machshir, right, is mechutz machaneh umchaper, and it's going to be mechaper also. Whether it's going to be taking out the mekalel or the harigato and everything is going to be mechaper, it has to be also from the parim anisrafim, right? That's what we're learning. Meaning all these things are a kapara, and therefore it's much more mistaber to compare it to things which are going to give you a kapara than something which is going to be just stam, right? That navera if you do it outside of the machaneh. So says the Gemara, adra, but the opposite. You still should learn from shchutei chutz. Why? Sheken adam choteh b'neshama, right? Upigul. What does that mean? He comes and he says this. We should have still learned it from michutz machaneh because by shchutei chutz, which is except for 4 different things. An adam. When we're talking about a person that comes and he curses. So when he curses, right, the name of Hashem, right, we usually say bless, right? Just I have to say it just to understand, right? So he says michutz machaneh. So therefore, there we're talking about. He's not allowed to do the shchita outside of the machaneh. So he comes and he says like this. There we're talking about an adam, right? You have to take him out. Choteh. What does that mean? By the mekalel u'shchutei chutz, it's talking about the choteh, which is the person that curses or the person that does the shchita. When it says michutz machaneh by parim anisrafim, it's talking about the par. It's not talking about the choteh, right? We're not talking about the one that's sinner. Neshama. What does that mean, neshama? When it says michutz machaneh, we're talking about mekalel u'shchutei chutz. We're talking about netilat neshama. Skilat HaMekalel u'shchitat HaKorban. Michutz HaMachaneh by parim anisrafim, we're talking about the srefat HaPara. We're just talking about burning the para. We're not talking about the actual killing. Meaning, the same thing that we're talking about the killing of the human being, because he did an Averah, is the same concept as the killing of the animal that they did shchutei chutz. So it's the neshama, it's the same thing. Or the choteh, the actual, we're not talking about, or the adam. Pigul. Another one is a pigul. What does that mean? By the mekalel shchutei chutz, it cannot be kashur to pigul. Michutz machaneh that's written by parim anisrafim, there is pigul. So therefore, since right now there's going to be 4 differences between parim anisrafim and this adam, which is going to be chayav mita. So therefore, it's much more logical to compare to shchutei chutz than to compare to parim anisrafim. So answers the Gemara, machshid mi machshid adifle. The Tana still prefers to learn a machshid from another machshid. Which means, even though Mkalel to Shchutei Chutz is actually equal in many other things, like we just said, they're equal in 4 different things, still, nevertheless, when it says Michutz Machaneh, which is brought down by the Mkalel and Otzat Parim and Safim, we're talking about doing the mitzvah like properly. The Michutz Machaneh by Shchutei Chutz is doing the mitzvah not properly, meaning you're doing an Averah. So it's still better to do something Bechsher and Bechsher, even though they're not as comparable, than to do it from Adam that they're doing it properly to somebody that did, right, something improperly, which was shchutei chutz. Okay, that's one answer. Okay, now another answer is, we're going back to how do we know the Bet HaSkila was outside of all 3 machanot? So Rav Papa comes and he says, Moshe hecha vayativ. Where was Moshe? Machane Leviyah. Right? V'amar le'rachmana, the Torah says, Yotze et hamkaleh michutz machaneh. What does that mean? Outside of Machane Leviyah. Vayotziu et hamkaleh michutz machaneh. So Vayotziu, and then again it says Machaneh, that's Michutz Machaneh Israel. Meaning, he was not a Machaneh Shechina right now, right? Because you had Machaneh Shechina, then you had Machaneh Leviyah, and then you had Machaneh Israel. So if Moshe Rabbeinu was already Machaneh Leviyah, and he comes and he tells him, right, Otzi etam kol michutz machaneh, it means take him out of the Machaneh Leviyah. When it says Vayotziu etam kol michutz machaneh, that they took him out again, so therefore the second time around now it's another taking out from a Machaneh. That's going to be the third one. It's Machaneh Israel. So therefore, it's completely out of 3 machanot. So ask the Gemara, he says, 1 second, but the second pasuk when it says v'yotziu, that's when he actually did it. It doesn't teach you that it's taking out from an extra machaneh. He actually took him out of the machaneh. So maybe it's only machaneh leviyah. So answers the Gemara, Asiyah behed yaktiv. It's already written at the end of the pasuk when it says V'nei Yisrael asuk kasher tiva Hashem Moshe. So the fact that it's already written that they did exactly what Hashem commanded, the second pasuk where it says Vayotitam Kalel was not just saying, by the way, they did it, because they already told you they did it. So for what are you talking about? We're talking about that they took him outside of an extra machaneh. So for it's outside of the three machanot, machaneh Shechina, Leviyah, and Yisrael. He was already machaneh Leviyah Moshe. So therefore, I told him to take out of the machaneh. That's machaneh Leviyah. So that's machaneh Yisrael. So therefore, it had to be outside of the three machanot. Have a wonderful day.